Hey YouTube, it's Wes. Hope you guys are doing great. So here's the deal. I took a 2 week hiatus from YouTube just for some mental health reasons. I had a lot going on and it was good for me to take a really long break. And I've enjoyed it, but I'm back. And what the heck has happened to the crypto markets? What is going on in this world around us? Everything's crashing and burning, hacks galore, phishing attacks, and all kinds of stuff happening around rug pulls and conjecture around a bunch of crypto projects. Now, we're going to cover all of that today. We're going to cover all of this negativity. You guys know me. I typically try to be a pretty positive guy, so I'm going to give you my spin on this. But one thing I should say, while I think mental health breaks are really important for all of us, and if your company doesn't allow you to take some time off for you, you should probably think about another company to work at, right? It's good for us to get these breaks from all kinds of things. And I encourage you to do that. Take a break from the things that matter to you. And I don't mean like your friends and family per se. I mean, sometimes your jobs, sometimes your hobbies, sometimes the things that you get caught in a rut with, it's good to get out of them. And for me, that was some time away from YouTube. I really needed some time away. The truth is, I have one huge luxury over all of the other crypto moon pumpers that are out there, which is this. I don't do YouTube for the money. I don't need it. I'm not looking for it. And the brutal truth and honesty of crypto, and especially YouTube, is this. When you take a break from YouTube as a content creator, your revenue nosedives. I lost over 6 times my monthly revenue just from taking a 2 week break from YouTube. The lesson is this: if you don't pump content out continuously with YouTube, you are going to fall behind. And this is why you see so many YouTube moon pumpers that are constantly pumping crypto out, like video after video after video, because they've got to keep the views up. They got to keep things going. And if they don't, their livelihood goes away. I don't have that problem. I can take breaks as much as I want to. And so I chose to take 2 weeks off. I paid the price for it on money, but I really don't care. Ad revenue doesn't mean a lot to me, if anything at all. So it comes back to this. Never listen to YouTubers, especially not crypto YouTubers, not ones like me or anyone else that's out there. The truth is they don't know what they're talking about. And it's not just the influencers that are on YouTube, it's Twitter, it's TikTok, it's all the other places where you consume your news. For sure, listen to those that you have interest in, but no, it's purely just for entertainment. They don't have any extra inside knowledge than you. They're not necessarily any more successful than you are. So much of it is just its facade stuff they put up. And so want to be really clear about that. And that was one of the big takeaways I had as we come back into what the heck is happening. I take this break, I get back to crypto, and boom, everything is blown up. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to share some news articles that are happening. I'm going to help you see through the weeds on a lot of this, and hopefully you can make some good educated decisions on what to do or not do about it. So all of this and a whole bunch more coming right up. All right, friends, Wes Spencer here. Really glad you've joined me today. We're going to have some fun talking about a bunch of negativity with a positive spin on it, which is my big deal. It's what I try to always be, is the optimist here, really taking a look from the good side of even negative things when we can and how we can. One thing you can do for me, would you hit like and subscribe? Like literally the like button seems to be the only thing the YouTube algorithm cares about for promoting my content over someone else's. So when you hit the like button, it really goes a long way. So please just hit that real quick for me, would you? And I'm getting close to 100,000 subs. I should have it this year. It's a huge bucket list item of mine. I can't believe that I'm going to have like a YouTube creator thing on the wall right over here. It kind of makes my day. It's really exciting. So if you'd hit subscribe, that goes a long way as well. So what's happening in the markets, right? I said earlier in my intro, I take a 2 week off and like, boom, everything goes crazy. All hell breaks loose, right? And it really does. Take a look at this. So Bitcoin's trading at 38,000, down 0.14 over the past 24 hours, and much more if you go way past that time period. Ethereum nosediving. Everything just seems to not do so well lately. So we know the markets are down, and oftentimes when the markets go down, that's when the negative come in, that's when the hate comes in, that's when all of the bottom cycle drivel that comes out from the news. And you might wonder, how long is it going to last? What am I supposed to do about it? What's driving it? And what that is, for whatever it is driving it, when will that go away so we can get this fixed? Well, the truth is, I don't know. Nobody knows. We do know there are some drivers, and we're going to take a look at some of those here in just a minute. So the first thing I wanted to cover is this. This was amazing to me. This happened during Super Bowl kind of era. So, 3 weeks ago from the time of this video, something like that. But it's really hitting the news cycles very recently. And this one's pretty wild. So this one, Coinbase fixes potentially market nuking flaw. And I think you could even take away the word potentially there. Let's be honest, based on what this thing did, it could have done, it was a market nuker, right? It's amazing to me. And so I love when I come across crypto articles that, you guys know I'm a cybersecurity guy. I built Perch Security and sold it about a year ago. I'm a cyber guy through and through. And so when we see this world collide of like crypto and cybersecurity all together, it's a lot of fun for me to cover. And so this is one. So there's a user, Tree of Alpha. You can follow them on Twitter and other places, that found a game-breaking vulnerability, or really I should say bug, in the new advanced trading features of Coinbase. And it was pretty staggering. So first thing I want to say is they spotted the flaw, right? And they reported it to Coinbase, and they earned a bug bounty of $250,000. That's a lot of money. Like, that's crazy. $250,000. First of all, what the heck is a bug bounty? So a bug bounty is where larger corporations say, you know what, we recognize if you find something significant, a big vulnerability in our platform, that you have a couple nefarious options. One, you could choose to use that option on your own and do something really damaging. You could take our site down, you could hack us, you could steal our data. In the world of crypto, you could potentially steal funds. The other thing that you could do with it is, if you feel like you don't want to be bad enough to take advantage of it yourself, you could sell it to another bad guy. This is where these 0 days often come about, these 0-day vulnerabilities where the company didn't know, and the bad guy that found it sold it and brokered it to somebody else who took advantage of it. Now, this user, Tree of Alpha, could have taken either of those routes, but instead they took the moral route, the correct route, the ethical route, which is reporting it through Coinbase's bug bounty. And this is really exciting. So a bug bounty is designed to offset those two things. So it's like you exploiting something yourself or selling it. It's meant to say, look, if you find something really scary, really dangerous, depending on the level of severity for that, we're going to pay you for doing the right thing to report it to us. It's just a way to incentivize, which I think is awesome. So this one is the highest bug bounty that any crypto company has ever paid in history. In fact, it's one of the highest bug bounties paid out across the board, $250,000. Now, we do know that Tree of Alpha could have sold this or exploited it for millions of dollars versus just getting $250,000 from a bug bounty. But let me say this, what would you rather have? Doing the right thing, which is the most important part, and getting $250,000 and not going to jail? Or taking the risk of doing the wrong thing and potentially going to jail and potentially losing all your money? We know from a lot of these crypto attacks in the past, it's not as easy to wash and hide those funds that you've stolen as you might think. So I applaud Tree of Alpha for doing the right thing, and they've well earned the $250,000 for the bug bounty. So what happened, right? So it looks, if you follow the Twitter thread, they said he was poking around, just looking at some things, and he noticed that he was able to use 0.0243 Ethereum, which is just a random number, it could have been any number, to sell 0.0243 Bitcoin on a completely different trading pair. Now we know the difference between 0.243 ETH and 2.43 Bitcoin is a huge difference. The number is the same, but the value is totally different. And so he noticed that and he's like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And then look at this. He says right here, I was hoping this was a UI bug, and I checked the fills on the order and they match the API. Those trades really happened on the live order book. Holy cow. And then to like even go further, he did this, or I shouldn't say he, I don't know gender. This person, this Tree of Alpha, look at this right here. Successfully managed to make a 50 Bitcoin limit sell order using 50 SHIB, which is crazy because 50 SHIB is worth less than a penny. 50 Bitcoin is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Probably over $1 million, right? So this was a big deal. And I loved how Coinbase responded. They did the right things. So as soon as this was spotted, pretty much right away, Coinbase completely took down their trading platform for this feature, completely took it down within 30 minutes. Look at this. And the Coinbase CEO, Brian Armstrong, reached out at the time to say, thank you. That's the right thing to do. Don't hide behind security vulnerabilities. Don't threaten the person that found it. Thank them for it. And once you thank them, take advantage of it by rewarding that user. Applaud them for doing the right thing, right? And, we'll never know what could have happened had a bad guy done this instead. But you know what? We're all better for it. So my thanks goes out to this particular person, Tree of Alpha. You did the right thing. You have been well rewarded and earned what you found. So that's awesome. Now, another big negative thing that happened, and I really don't even think the Coinbase thing was negative. Like, this shows how bug bounties can be so valuable, right? But OpenSea phishing attacks. So this was a big one, right? So we know OpenSea is like the #1 platform for NFT trading. It's heavily, heavily used. And so because that's where the users are, that's where the bad guys are going to go, right? And so it was hit by a phishing attack. This is not a vulnerability in OpenSea. It's going after the users that use it. And you got to be, look, here's the thing. I've said this a lot on this channel. There's no one to help you. There's no crypto bank to pay you back for lost NFTs or lost crypto. When you lose it, you pretty much lose it. It's gone forever. You're on your own island, and you got to be ready for that. And so this happened here. Pretty scary stuff. A bunch of people fell prone to this. We're actively, and this is the statement that happened on Saturday. We're actively investigating rumors of an exploit associated with OpenSea. This appears to be a phishing attack originating outside of our website. Please do not click links outside of our own, right? And you can see, I'm going to find the damages. Here we go. At the time of writing on Sunday morning, it was 641 ETH. About 1.7 million that was stolen from the phishing attack. Again, not a vulnerability in OpenSea, just the vulnerability in people, and pretty scary stuff. This wallet that was stored that had all the stolen funds even had 3 Bored Ape Yacht Club. I can never say that. You can't say that 3 times fast. It's like impossible, right? But you guys know those NFTs that are blown up. I feel for those users. It's a horrible, horrible thing to happen. So there you have it, right? So that's not such a great thing. And then we see what's happening in the markets, right? I was mentioning here, the markets have just nosedived of late, and we don't know the exact reason why. But there's some negative things that are happening. So look what CNBC has said right here. Bitcoin and other cryptos slip on mounting Russia-Ukraine tensions. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to get into some negative comments and commentary that are about to slip into this article, but I want to say a few things here about all this. First of all, this. When we have big negatives, like downward trends, and we hit bear markets and things don't do well in the crypto market, a lot of negativity comes in, right? There's a lot of everyone wanting to get the next click, whether that's the YouTubers that are moon pumping, like I said at the beginning of the intro, of like, man, these people, if they don't constantly pump, then they're not going to get views. And if they don't get views, they don't get money. They don't get money, they don't get livelihood, right? So they got to pump, pump, pump. And really, like all the major news articles are the same way, right? All the MSM stuff that's out there, it's all that way. And so expect when the market goes down, the negativity comes in. But you know what? Here's the good thing. I actually don't think that's such a bad thing. When we hit these bottoms and hype is gone, and it's only fear, uncertainty, and doubt that creeps in, that's where innovation happens. See, this holds true even outside of the crypto space. You typically don't see innovation when we're at all-time highs. That's not when it happens. And I'm talking about the history of the world. Usually innovation happens when there's a deep need and desire and force into doing something new. And so when we have all of this hype cleared out and we're at the bottom of a market, that's where we can focus on projects that matter without hype getting in the way. When we're at the bottom of a hype cycle, that's where innovation can flourish. And so I look at this as a practitioner and I'm like, hey, I encourage this. We finally get a lot of the fluff and the hype out of the way. And now we can look at projects that matter, people that matter, things that matter, and we can really get to some great innovation. So I look at these as more good than bad. If you only care about the price for something, of course, you're going to get negative and you're going to buy into the hype and you might even sell your losses, right? And you're going to regret it when things come back up, right? So that's the truth. I think bottoms of hype cycles can be a good thing. Now, what's causing this? Well, CNBC would have you to believe that it's mostly the Russia-Ukraine tensions. Okay, here's what I think. I think that I don't know. I think that nobody truly knows. Now, we do know that crypto oftentimes follows the stock market, not completely and not always, but often it does. And so this whole Russia-Ukraine tension thing that's happening, like we know there's stuff that's happening right now. We know that, to some degree they've invaded, and I'm not a news anchor or analyst. I'm not going to give you the news on this. I will say this. I feel for all the folks that are impacted by this. As someone here in the US, I don't get it. Like, I recognize that. I'm safe and secure in my home in Tampa, Florida. I can't imagine what those folks in Ukraine are going through. So my heart goes out to every single one of those people. And I think oftentimes when we look at this, I don't think we can say for sure it's just the tensions that are causing the market to go down in crypto. We do know crypto follows stocks often. But we do know it's probably one of those factors, right? I think it's fair to say, sure, it is a factor. Is it the only factor? Probably not. I'm a pretty big believer in multi-factor analysis. Now, as we go down, the article is really pretty negative, right? So it talks about how it's down 1% over the past few days. It's way down from its all-time highs at like 60 something, 69,000, 68,000, whatever it was. And then they say this: analysts attributed the drop in escalating tensions over the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Putin on Monday ordered troops into some breakaway regions in Ukraine. And of course, everything goes down, right? And, that's a question for the crypto maximalists that are out there, right? Because they're always saying things like, well, Bitcoin and crypto as a whole is a good hedge against the stock market. It's a hedge against all the negative things that are happening. It's like a digital gold. Well, if that's the case, then why is everything going down when these huge tensions and fears are happening, right? It's a big question to ask. And so this is why I'm not sure that it correlates. It's the only cause, but certainly I think it's a cause, right? And then here's a bunch of negative stuff that's come in, and I'm just going to give you some thoughts on it, right? So Bitcoin's safe haven narrative is almost completely fallen apart. I'm not sure I believe that, right? Like almost completely fallen apart, that seems pretty negative, right? And then, who knows? But they talk about what I just said here. The whole digital gold thing is broken down. Institutional investors are trading it, so it's not just, a store of value that we hold long-term like gold. And then here we go. Then we get into the price speculation. So that same analyst that I just read that quote from is saying 32,500 looks more like the point of no return. Is it? Is it not? I don't know. Let me tell you this. Never listen to crypto YouTubers. Never listen to crypto analysts, right? Like, we'll see if they're right or not. The price speculation it's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off, right? Yeah, there we go. Down from all-time highs of 68,000. And then look at this one right here. So Du Jun, the founder of crypto exchange Huobi, look at this, says this: it's like the next bull market, where everything's supposed to blow up, is probably not going to happen until 2024 at the earliest, maybe even 2025 when the next halving happens. So look at this. Following the cycle, it won't be until the end of 2024, 25 that we can expect the next bull market on Bitcoin. Okay, if you don't listen to crypto YouTubers and influencers, and you don't listen to crypto analysts, you definitely shouldn't listen to crypto CEOs of exchanges, right? That's a huge statement. And I remember when it was made, the market went crazy. Like, I remember seeing this in my news cycles over the past couple days of like, Huobi CEO saying, we're not going to see another bull market till 2025. That's crazy. It's so far off. Here's what they're getting at. They're saying this. They're saying the halvenings, when its mining rewards get cut in half, which happens so often. I remember the days, I do, when Bitcoin was at 50 Bitcoin per mined block as a reward. And then it went down to 25, and then 12.25, and then we're at 6.2 or 12.5, 12.25 now. It's going to get cut in half again. Those tend to make the market really grow up. Like it just does, because it's the scarcity element comes back in all of a sudden again, right? And there's a lot of history that shows this. I even had some earlier videos that I've covered on this channel where I show some of that. Sometimes the data is massaged in certain ways that I don't like, but across the board it's true. And so they're saying, well, this isn't going to happen until 2025, when after the next halving event happens. Do we know that? Heck no, we don't know that. Just because there's been trends towards that does not at all mean that is going to be the only limiting single factor that causes a bull run. Again, we've got to stay away from single factor analysis. Those are the things that kill us. So man, that's some huge negatives in that article. And I just wanted to share you that and give you some commentary that I had around it, because I just think that's unlikely. And I think that's a huge bearish statement that there's really no evidence that's going to happen. Now, maybe it could. But wow, be careful when you see all the negatives that are happening, right? Last thing I want to share is this. Bitcoin, and this goes hand in hand with the last article. So this comes from Reuters. Bitcoin could be laid low by miners' malady. And same thing, they're just talking about, oh, woe is us, because the mining rewards are so low and everyone's invested into mining. And once China banned mining and all the miners moved to the US and other countries, all of a sudden the mining difficulty has gone up and it's so hard to get a reward. And I'm like, come on, guys, like we've known this in crypto since the very beginning. This stuff was described in Satoshi's white paper. But I suppose the total newbies that see this kind of stuff, they don't understand it and like, oh wow, yeah, it's the mining reward. That's definitely the cause of like the malady happening in mining. And that's why all this is happening, right? And so I don't worry about articles like this that are coming out. It's certainly not, I think, very little to do with all of the negativity, and certainly not causing the price to drop. Now, one last huge negative, and this is what I wanted to close on. This comes from Cointelegraph, and it's a huge, negative piece on SafeMoon. I think there's some legitimacy here, right? So this talks about the pump and dump lawsuit It talks about, as you see, Jake Paul, Soldier Boy, and a whole bunch of other, like, celebrities and influencers have all gotten on board on pumping SafeMoon, and all of a sudden it got rug pulled, right? To a degree, it got rug pulled anyway, right? So if we look down here, and hear me, I'm not saying that SafeMoon is a complete rug pull. Not necessarily saying that, right? But there's a lot of SafeMoon fans that are out there, and they're going to have to deal with this article, right? And really come to their own conclusions, right? So it talks about what happened. They took, Nick Carter, Soldier Boy, Lil Yachty. You know who that is. I'm too old to know who Little Yachty is. And I know Jake Paul and Ben Phillips, right? So they talk about a whole bunch of them pumping it, right? Jake Paul, everyone needs SafeMoon, or this is going to be you. You're going to be the next crying MMA fighter. You're going to be so sad, right? And then you see all these others that, like big things coming out, all this stuff that's happening. They show where the rug pulls kind of happen after a whole bunch of this like market hyping that happened with all these influencers. Now, here's my deal with this. Like, here's, again, you see Jake Paul's right here. A year ago, I talked about Doge. Then I talked about SafeMoon. Now I'm talking about Yummy. I'm like, Jake Paul, you don't know anything about what you're talking about, right? You're just pumping what you're being paid. And I can tell you, being a crypto influencer as it is, my email is filled with all of these tiny, small, you've never heard of projects of token, like anonymous token creators that are like, Wes, will you pump my YouTube or my crypto on your YouTube channel? I'll pay you for it. And I'm like, no, I just said in the beginning of the video, I don't need your money. And I'm not going to sacrifice my influence over it. But many, many influencers will and do every single day. And so this is what happens when you listen to these influencers that have no idea what they're talking about, that are literally just using their network and their influence to get something to blow up for some money that they got on the end. You see this happening. You see a lot of this stuff happen. And then, of course, once it blows up off their hype, then they're the first to sell because they got those funds for free as part of their promo. And that's where these whole, rug pulls can happen for sure. I remember, guys, I was buying a car. And I was talking to the car dealer. He was asking me, like, what do you do? And I was explaining all the things I do. And I was explaining I do YouTube and some other things. And he was like, oh, SafeMoon, you got to get on SafeMoon. He spent the next 20 minutes while I was going through all my car buying experience talking about SafeMoon. I remember this. And man, like, I wonder where he's at now. I kind of feel he was heavy into it. I'm like, man, this is why buying into the hype pretty hardcore can be a pretty dangerous thing. So I just leave the video with today on this. This is why you don't listen to crypto YouTubers, right? I don't know the future of SafeMoon. I'm not saying it's the worst project ever. I'm not saying it's falling apart. I'm certainly not telling you not to buy it. I'm just saying when you buy it because people like Jake Paul and whoever Little Yachty is are telling you to buy it, or Wes Spencer is telling you to buy it, you're making a mistake. Don't buy off what we tell you. Buy off your own research, consult your own financial advisor, and do the right thing. Because crypto influencers, crypto analysts, and certainly crypto exchange CEOs should never be listened to for financial advice. There you have it. That's the news roundup. That's what's happening with the craziness that's happening. Stay safe, continue to hold fast, and don't give up on all this craziness. Bunch of negatives in the hype cycle, but don't worry too much about that. Would you hit like and subscribe if you haven't already? I put some time in this video. I'd love for you just to give me a little love back by hitting that like button. It goes a really long way. Until next time, my friends, thank you so very much.